Hello and welcome to Lesson 2 of Module 1.3. In this lesson, we will explore the key drivers that are actively transforming how agriculture functions in Europe today, from climate change and digitization to demographic shifts and global market forces. Modern agriculture does not evolve in a vacuum. It responds to powerful external forces called drivers of change. Modern agriculture is influenced by several key drivers of change that underline its context and relevance. This session explores the critical factors reshaping European farming practices and policies. Climate change is no longer a distant threat, it's already here. Across Europe, farmers face more frequent extreme weather events, heat waves, droughts, storms, and floods. Agriculture is both a victim and a contributor. It's responsible for around 11% of EU greenhouse gas emissions, mostly methane from livestock and nitrous oxide from fertilized soils. Farmers now need to adapt quickly to remain viable under changing climatic conditions. The EU responded with the Farm to Fork strategy. This strategy aims for a climate-neutral food system by 2050 with ambitious targets by 2030. These include converting 25% of EU farmland to organic from 10.5% in 2022, reducing synthetic pesticide use by 50%, cutting fertilizer losses and antimicrobial use. This policy shifts put sustainability at the heart of food production. The Common Agricultural Policy was reformed in 2023. 40% of the CAP budget is now dedicated to climate and environmental goals. The reform introduced eco-schemes which reward farmers for adopting eco-friendly practices like agroecology, crop rotation, and soil conservation. The CAP is no longer just about production. It's a tool to incentivize sustainable land management. The digital revolution, also called Agriculture 4.0, is one of the most exciting drivers of change. Digital tools allow for micro-targeted input application, better weather prediction, and data-informed decision-making. By 2023, more than 90% of rural households in the EU had internet access, supporting the uptake of precision technologies. Smart tractors, drones, and satellite imagery are becoming essential tools of the modern farm. Vertical farming is a method of growing crops in stacked layers, often in controlled indoor environments such as warehouses or skyscrapers. Vertical farming can be seen as a solution for urban agriculture. Let's see the benefits and the challenges. Within the benefits lies space efficiency, as it is suitable for urban areas with limited agricultural land, water efficiency, as it uses up to 95% less water than traditional farming, as well as reduced carbon footprint. Shorter supply chains and less transport reduce emissions. Within challenges lie the high startup cost for infrastructure and technology, as well as the need for advanced technology, LED lighting, climate control systems, and others. European consumer demands are changing too. Today's European consumers are increasingly health conscious, environmentally aware, and interested in how and where their food is produced. Organic food sales are growing rapidly. The market for organic products in the EU has grown rapidly in the past decade, reflecting public concern for chemical-free and eco-friendly farming. The demand for plant-based alternatives is also rising, with 1 in 4 Europeans identifying as flexitarian. Ethical concerns like animal welfare and fair trade influence shopping habits more and more. There is also a strong preference for local and authentic foods. Many Europeans seek out regional specialties with geographical indications and prefer shorter supply chains that connect them to local farmers. Farmers must respond to all these shifts in order to stay competitive. Europe is the world's largest agri-food exporter, with a record trade surplus of 70 billion in 2023. This global reach brings both opportunities and risks. Opportunities include new export markets for high-value products, specialization in climate-suited crops, and access to global innovations. Risks include competition from countries with different standards, vulnerability to global price fluctuations, and supply chain disruptions, like the war in Ukraine, which caused feed shortages and fertilizer price spikes. Farmers must balance global reach and local resilience. Europe's farming population is aging. The average farmer is 57 years old and only 12% are under 40. Women represent only about 30% of EU farm holders. Europe has been losing thousands of farms each year. If young people don't enter the sector, land could be abandoned or concentrated into fewer hands. On the positive side, young farmers tend to be more tech-savvy, innovative, and open to new business models such as agritourism, direct online sales, or diversification into renewable energy. The latest CEP includes startup aid for 377,000 young farmers from 2023 to 2027. Supporting generational renewal is essential for long-term viability. Agriculture is under pressure from water scarcity, soil erosion, and biodiversity loss. Agriculture accounts for about 70% of freshwater withdrawals in Europe. 84% of the economic losses from drought in Europe fall on agriculture. Between 2012 and 2018, about 3,580 square kilometers of agricultural land in the EU and UK was lost to urban expansion. An estimated 115 million hectares are affected by water erosion. The farmland bird index has plummeted nearly 50% over the last 30 years. 60% of protected species and 77% of habitats were reported in unfavorable conservation status. These resource constraints are driving a paradigm shift towards climate-smart agriculture, circular farming, and nature-positive production where farming works with natural ecosystems rather than against them. The CAP budget for 2021-2027 is 386.6 billion, nearly a third of the EU's total budget. 40% of this budget is now tied to environmental and climate goals. Farmers must follow stricter rules such as crop rotation, soil cover, and wetland protection to receive full subsidies. Research and innovation are also being supported. The EU's Horizon Europe program, along with initiatives like EIP Agri, provide billions of euros to fund R&D and on-farm pilots for new technologies, sustainable practices, and value chains. The CAP strategic plans allow countries to tailor interventions to national needs within the EU's overall objectives, focusing on areas like supporting small farms, technology adoption, and carbon farming. Europe's push towards a bioeconomy and circular economy is opening new horizons for agriculture, shifting from fossil-based resources to renewable biological resources. Many farmers have installed biogas digesters that turn animal manure and crop residues into biogas. The EU's REPowerEU plan set a target of producing 35 billion cubic meters of biomethane per year by 2030. Crops like hemp, flax, or miscellaneous grass are being promoted for use in construction, as insulation or composites, or in biodegradable packaging. There's rising interest in carbon farming, where farmers are paid to sequester CO2 in soils. This creates new business models beyond food alone: energy, materials, and ecosystem services. Agritourism and diversification for small farms. But first of all, what is agritourism? Agritourism involves inviting the public to visit farms, often for educational experiences, leisure, or direct sales. For example, there could be farm tours, workshops, farm stays, and food experiences like wine or cheese tasting. What are the economic benefits for farmers? It provides small farmers with supplementary income through visitor fees, product sales, and value-added services. And what is the connection with the customers? It builds a stronger bond between consumers and producers, increasing awareness of sustainable and local practices. The COVID-19 pandemic and the war in Ukraine exposed the fragility of global food systems. The pandemic led to labor shortages, demand shocks, and logistics breakdowns. It highlighted the vulnerability and interdependence of the agri-food system, driving efforts to improve resilience through more localized supply chains and diversified marketing channels. The war in Ukraine caused spikes in prices of grain, fertilizer, and energy. It triggered an EU strategy for long-term agricultural autonomy, boosting domestic production of fertilizers, diversifying import sources, and building strategic reserves. These shocks act as stress tests for European agriculture, revealing vulnerabilities and driving home the need for resilience through diversified production, better biosecurity, and contingency plans. That concludes our overview of the key drivers shaping modern agriculture in Europe. Thank you.